this is where everything stopped making sense. This is where I started really asking God questions. This is where I realized that what God was doing, I was completely on a different path. That's when I realized that I needed to stay close. That's when I realized that I needed to be paying attention to that still small voice, and I needed to be looking, not just with my spirit, but with my natural eyes, because I had questions and I needed answers. And I knew that God spoke to me prophetically, so I had to be paying attention. I needed to be on alert. But before I continue, guys, I need you to go listen to part 1, 2, and 3. You need to listen to it, because in order for you to actually see the masterpiece that God was actually creating through the stages, from my first job at the teaching school to my second job to that second gig, you need to listen to it, because God was indeed creating a masterpiece through everything. But lo and behold, that list was not meant for good at all. That was actually meant for evil. So I was like, okay, God, 2 jobs. My first one was, I've been there for years. There was no thank you. Thank you for your service. I did not get that email. Then this one, it was no thank you for a month and a half. Sad to see you go. It's not that I'm throwing shots. I'm just telling you what happened when you work for companies, when you work for someone else, when push comes to shove, well, you're gonna know really quickly. Each person is gonna be looking out for themselves, and it's not that it's intentional, because whatever stress they were under, I'm just letting you know that's just, man will always disappoint. So there's no need to hold on to the disappointment because we expected something to go a certain way. That's another story for another time. But I left, and I'm like, okay, God, I obeyed. You told us not to take this thing. We are certain you told us not to take it. What am I doing? That's when things start to settle in, and I'm like, Lord, but I don't understand. This morning you told me take care of my children. So now I'm like, what children? I don't have any students anymore. I can't teach in any school, no matter if it's film and theater or no matter it's at the younger age, it doesn't matter. I can't work. So what children? So I was like, maybe it's the children at church, the youth ministry. I'm like, God, is it the kids at church? What children? I don't understand. So I'm walking, and God is saying nothing right there. He's just allowing me to process the motion, to process my emotions, and he's allowing me to ride that wave with him and to trust him. Learn how to trust him in a deeper way. So I get into my car, and I said, and I'm there like, God, I obeyed. I thought I obeyed you. You opened the doors for me. I saw increase, double for my trouble. And now I'm like, I'm left with one. And I'm like, I'm grateful and I'm thankful. But living in New York, I'm like, how are we going to make this work? So I am driving. And while I'm driving, that's when the Lord says to me, trust me. I said, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. So I call my husband. I let him know what's going on. He's like, boo, that's okay. We are not going to back down. we are going to do what God has told us to do. Now, mind you, in me, within myself, there was no doubting. There was no maybe. At this point, there was no maybe I hear God. There was none of that, because I knew. And when God speaks and you know, your whole being knows, you just know. And when the fear of God actually comes upon you when he speaks, you just know. You're like, girl, you know what God is saying to you. So everything in you is pointing you to obedience, right? So that was me. And when he said that, that gave me comfort. So ladies, you need to know who you're marrying. You need to let God choose your husband for you. That's another testimony for another day. But my husband said that, and that gave me comfort. That strengthened me, and I went home joyful. I was not, the joy that I had at work, and I'm like, God is gonna work it out, and that did not leave. I just had questions, like questions, because I thought God was going to move a certain way. I thought he was opening the door for me to access the private setting. I'm like, God, I see you. No, I didn't see God. I was completely left. And God is like, hi, my daughter, I'm actually over here. But don't worry, you're gonna come, you're gonna get in line, in alignment. Don't you worry. So this is where I had to really be paying attention to God, guys. And the beautiful thing, God was doing something new that I didn't even know he was doing. But it gets crazy. If you think that's crazy, let me tell you, it's going to get even crazier. So stay tuned for part 4.